Boundaries with a narcissist. You might laugh if you've had a relationship or have a relationship with a narcissist and say, how in the world do I have that? Because narcissists by their nature do not respect your boundaries. But here is the DSM-4 criteria for what's called narcissistic personality disorder. So they have to have at least 5 of the following characteristics, and a personality disorder is something that is defined as being like pervasive. So it develops usually by young adulthood, and it's not just in one relationship. It's in pretty much all relationships, and it's kind of like what they call a pervasive way of life. So it's somebody who's like that a lot in their life and relationships. So somebody can be narcissistic-like. All addicts are narcissistic because they put themselves and their addiction first, but it doesn't mean that they have narcissistic personality disorder. So somebody with narcissistic personality disorder really has these characteristics in all areas, all relationships of their life. So they are what's called inflexible, to where it doesn't easily change, very difficult to get change without intensive therapy by an incredibly skilled therapist who usually just becomes specialized in that particular personality disorder, whether that's borderline or narcissism. Okay, these 5. So a grandiose sense of self-importance where one exaggerates achievements and abilities and expect to be recognized as superior for them. So they exaggerate their own abilities and their own achievements, and they expect other people to think they're equally as fantastic. Fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. So they have they have a fantasy of a feeling of being extremely successful, extremely brilliant, of having all kinds of power and ideal loving relationships. A belief that one is special or unique and should only associate with special people. So they really believe that they are different, that they are better than and above other people. Requires excessive admiration. Oh, this is a big one, especially in relationship. They need to be admired, and they need people to actively admire them. A sense of entitlement that requires favorable treatment or automatic compliance with expectation. Another big one in a relationship. If they expect something, if they demand something, they expect immediate compliance without question. And they demand this in relationships and become very angry when they don't get it. They are entitled, meaning they deserve it. Exploitation of others to achieve one's own ends and an expectation to be given whatever is wanted or needed. Okay, another thing. So they expect you to do what they want, expect you to give what they need, and they will exploit you and other people to get whatever they want and not feel bad for it. Lacks empathy and is unwilling to recognize others' needs or feelings and views others' needs and feelings as a weakness. Whoa, that's a big one too. They lack empathy. In other words, they don't feel bad for what you're suffering as a result of their behavior and their treatment of you. They don't feel bad for the sad, difficult things that you're going through in life. They are unable to give you empathy, to feel your pain, and not even able to recognize your needs, your feelings. Not recognize your needs or your feelings, and they view your feelings and your display of those feelings, your tears, your pain, as a sign of weakness. Envious of others and believes others are envious of them. So they're actually jealous of other people, and they believe desperately, with no evidence, that other people envy them for all of these perceived achievements and all of the success that they believe that they have. Arrogant and haughty behaviors and attitudes. Arrogance is putting your head up and thinking, I'm better than you, I'm better than everyone. And they act very haughty and they act very arrogant. And you can see it in their manners. You can see it in the way they interact with people. You can hear it in how they talk about other people and how they discuss other people and how they look down on them. Again, 5 of those. 5 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 of the 9 pervasively in all relationships in all parts of life, and that is considered narcissistic personality disorder. So what does it mean for you if you're in the relationship with a narcissist, whether it be a narcissist parent that raised you, a parent that is still in your life, a spouse, a child. Now, narcissists can be men or women, although they find statistically men are most often labeled with or diagnosed with narcissism or called narcissists. Women are more often said that they have borderline personality disorder. Some of the traits are similar, some are very different. So men or women can be narcissists. So relationship with a narcissist, not easy, very difficult, all right? Just right out the gate, tough to have a narcissist parent as you're growing up. But here's the hook. Narcissists tend to be very charming. They tend to be charismatic. They draw you into the relationship. Now, when we talk about them having these characteristics in all relationships in life, you may have the unfortunate situation where you're married to a narcissist, but everyone else says, oh my gosh, you are married to the most wonderful person. You're so lucky. And you're thinking, yeah, right. Because this person treats you differently. But what you may find is all the people in this person's life, their children, their spouse, maybe their parents, other people that are close to them get to see the truth about their narcissism, but on the outside, they keep up that facade of being this fantastic person that everyone admires, that's super charismatic, that draws all this praise and all this admiration. But in close relationships, this person is who they really are. So very charming, very charismatic. So you may think, oh my gosh, how did I get involved with this person? That might be how. The other thing that often happens is a spouse will finally drag this person under threat of divorce or something into a therapist's office, and the narcissist will charm the therapist and get the therapist to believe that they're really not so bad and that you're the bad guy. I have that happen to people all the time, where they'll say, I've been to 5 therapists and every therapist is completely duped by my spouse. My spouse's promises of wanting to be better and saying all the right things in therapy and just getting the therapist to think they're a wonderful person. Okay, the next one is that you lose your sense of self and your wants, needs, and desires in the relationship. And why is that? The narcissist doesn't see you as having a self. The narcissist does not see you and your desires and your needs as important. What they see is their own needs. They see you as an extension of themselves, and they see you as somebody who exists to meet their needs and attend to them. So they don't see you as a separate person that has needs, desires, wants, and is important. And as a result, you tend to stop seeing yourself as important and yourself as a self. Under all that pressure and under all that relationship dynamic of being involved with a narcissist, you lose yourself. If you're raised by a narcissist, you have a narcissist parent, you may have never developed a self because you may have been so under that parent's shadow and never really validated for your own self and your own needs that you might not even know who you are. The next one is that the relationship operates on the narcissist's terms and your feelings, needs, and concerns don't matter. So it's on their terms. What they demand, what they need, what they want, what's important to them, you don't matter. And the demand is that's the way the relationship is. And under pressure, you may have given into that. And you may have said that's the only way to keep the peace, that's the only way. Maybe in the beginning of the relationship you were willing to give that much to make this person happy, as we often are. But then over time you recognize that, wow, this is all about this other person and none about me. Next one, you have to spend energy making sure that the narcissist feels important, admired, and special. You have to expend your energy to do this, or the person will be angry and upset. And you may know that this is like the unwritten rule. It may never have been said, but you may know I have got to give this person praise and admiration and time and attention, and it needs to be quick, and it needs to be on this person's terms. So all of these things in order to keep this person happy and, frankly, not angry, not attacking you, not doing what causes you to be really uncomfortable in the relationship. The next one is you feel controlled, so you have difficulty saying no. So this person uses tactics. It's not uncommon for narcissists to be abusive. emotionally and verbally abusive, because they use tactics, and one of them is manipulation. One of those is abuse, ridicule, contempt, name-calling, undermining you, all of these things in order to get you to do what they want, because again, they demand it, and abusers demand that you do what they want when they want it. So you may feel that pressure and that control and manipulation, and as a result, it takes so much energy and so much strength to say no, and you've probably been beaten down for it that you may have actually given up. The relationship takes lots of energy, lots of drama, lots of energy, lots of effort, maybe that you haven't had to do in another relationship, or maybe this is all you know, but it is a draining, demanding relationship. Next one is narcissists are moody and difficult to deal with. Moody. They're moody because they're demanding. They're moody because it's all about them. They're moody because they're touchy. They're critical. They're picky. And they're kind of spoiled. Next one is they're sensitive to criticism and react to it with rage or shame. And this one's kind of baffling because you may think this person is a narcissist because they think so well of themselves. They are just all about how wonderful they are and all about how fantastic they are and how brilliant and successful they are. And yet this person can't take any criticism at all without getting super defensive, super attacking, super angry, raging even, responding to it with just beating you down and blaming you and going on the attack against you. And why is that? Because narcissists really at their core have a really unstable self-image, and they cannot face anything negative about themselves at all. So anything that is criticism or kind of is threatening about their, that comes up against their positive self-image that says they're so wonderful, they're extremely reactive to. They get shamed easily, they cannot deal with it, and they end up attacking you. The next one is they're perfectionistic and intolerant of others' mistakes and overreact to them. So they're very perfectionistic. Perfectionists demand perfection. If you're not perfect, you get shamed, you get attacked, you get ridiculed, you get criticized, and they're completely unable to accept your mistakes, overreact to them. And part of that might be, since they see you as an extension of themselves, when you make a mistake and you're connected to them, they misperceive that mistake as reflecting on them, and they're incapable of seeing themselves, and they're being self-critical and self-evaluative. And so they can't stand anything to look negative about them or feel negative, and so they'll react with rage to the fact that you have just had a negative impact or negative reflection of them. Okay, the next one is they have unrealistic demands and expectations of others, completely unrealistic. They expect you to do everything, to do it now. It doesn't matter if you're tired, it doesn't matter if you're busy, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter what you need, it doesn't matter what you want. Expectations are completely unrealistic. The next one is that you will experience emotional pain, and you probably laugh like, I need her to tell me that? Yes, because you need to be validated. It is incredibly emotionally painful to be in a relationship with a narcissist. You are going to be hurting. You may get to the point where you push it down and you ignore it, but it is painful. The next one is that narcissists are unable to look at themselves and see personal problems or weaknesses. Do not expect insight. Do not expect the ability to self-evaluate. And the bummer about this is that we really do need to, in order to have healthy relationships, number one thing, when people ask me, I say the number one thing is the ability to look at yourself, evaluate your own actions, and admit your weaknesses. If you can do that, then you have a chance of a healthy relationship. If you can't do that, you're going to be struggling and fighting with the person, because they're not even going to be able to be accountable. They're not even going to be able to see their faults and recognize what they need to change. And so they cannot look at themselves and see problems or weaknesses, and they won't. And the harder you try to make them do that, the more that you're just going to be slapping the air and wasting your time, because they are unable to do that. They will need to feel one up on you at all times. And what that means is they need to be over you. It's kind of like the same thing as an abuser. They need to feel like they're in control, they're better than you, you're less than them, and that they're besting you at all times. So it's always going to feel like a very competitive relationship. And this is where a child recognizes eventually this about a narcissistic parent. If you look back on your childhood with a narcissist parent, you will probably be able to say, wow, my parent felt like they were in competition with me, like they were always trying to be better than me, and my achievements they claimed as their own. And it was a strange thing. They took pride in me doing something good. It always was about them. It was about, oh, my daughter's doing this, and my son's doing this. And they always kind of like took the glory away from you. So you never really felt like it was yours. The same way that when you do something wrong, they see it as a reflection on them. But they always need to be better than you. It's competitive. They will not be empathetic toward you, and if you have children with them, they will not be empathetic to your children. They won't care that they're upset, care that they're crying, unless it is to undermine you. Then they might want to be the child's best friend, to make you look like the bad guy, to where the child thinks, isn't dad great? This especially happens in divorce situation with narcissist parents, where the narcissist parent becomes the Disneyland dad or mom, and you're the one who's disciplining, being the bad guy, and they're going to do all this stuff to undermine you and make the kids feel that they're perfect and they're great and they want to be with them and not you. So in a divorce situation, a narcissist parent will undermine you with the children and try to pull them away from you and criticize you and try to make you look like the bad guy and possibly even lie about you. I've had that happen many, many, many times. Not with me, but with people that I've worked with and counseled with. They will be unconcerned with how they affect you and treat you or your children, okay? In terms, if you're married and they're doing things that are hurting the kids, they're not going to be really open to hearing about it so that they can change because they care about how they're affecting the kids. They're really not concerned. Why? Because one of the characteristics is they're unable to empathize, unable to understand how other people are affected by them and hurt. And because they just can't. It's like they're devoid of that empathy, so they're not going to care. The next one or last one will be they will not be able to give unconditional love and approval or acknowledge other people's individuality. So you're not going to get unconditional approval from them. You're not going to get unconditional love. It's always going to feel conditional based on what you do, and it's going to be according to what they need, they want, and what makes them feel good and not good. Those are the things that you will be disapproved for and approved for, and you won't be loved no matter what. So what are some of the coping skills for dealing with a narcissist? Well, you can't make narcissists change. Sorry, but you can't. Hard enough to make anybody to change, but somebody with a personality disorder, we said it's very pervasive, very set, hard to get changed. It's how they're wired. It's how they view the world. It takes an incredibly skilled therapist, long time in therapy, and a huge commitment to change to get any change at all. Personality disorders obviously are the most difficult to treat because the person lacks insight into their behavior and doesn't really even recognize it's wrong. Therefore, how do you change? So what can you do? Other than leave the relationship as fast as you can and have nothing to do with them, what can you do in a relationship with a narcissist? Well, you really have to focus on changing yourself, facing the truth about who the person is, learning about narcissism, understanding what it is so that you can get yourself kind of just so you'll know what to expect and you'll know how to detach from things that aren't about you, and you'll kind of have, it's like knowing your enemy in a sense. If you know your enemy, then you know how to fight your enemy. So if you understand narcissism, you know how to respond to it. So here are some things. Work on developing a strong sense of self. Do not depend on the narcissist to tell you who you are. Do not. You have to develop an incredibly strong sense of self on your own, by yourself, by your own in your own life, with your own achievements, your own ideals, your own everything, so that you'll be strong in who you are. Then you want to learn to validate yourself. Validate means to say, this is valid, this is true, this is important. Because in a relationship, a narcissist invalidates you. So you must learn to not expect the narcissist to validate you, not to tell you that your needs are right, your feelings are right, your thoughts are right, they're important, I care, I listen. You have to say, even if this person doesn't listen, doesn't care, doesn't how I want to talk to me about these things, doesn't agree that they're right, I'm going to fight for them. Next one is that you have to give up trying to make the narcissist validate your feelings, thoughts, and needs at all. Don't even try. It's a waste of energy. You need to conserve your energy. You need to turn that need to validate back on yourself. You can be validated from other people. You can get a mentor, a sponsor, a close friend, a family member, a counselor that you can help validate you. Those are okay, but don't try to make the narcissist do it because it won't happen. You want to attend to your own needs. It's okay in a relationship if the other person can't meet your needs, at least as long as it isn't like, you know, something immoral, like going out and having an affair, to attend to your own needs. Get what you want, get what you need, take care of yourself, do special things for you, find things that fulfill you, and you meet your needs. Identify the things in you that make you vulnerable to the narcissist behavior. This is super important. You have to understand, like, what are the hooks? What does a narcissist say and do that makes you invalidate yourself? What does a narcissist say and do that makes you want to jump when they say jump? What does a narcissist say and do that makes you feel guilty, makes you feel bad, makes you give up the right to take care of yourself? Is it his or her reaction? Is it the words? Is it guilting? Is it fear? Is it threats? Is it a demand? What is it that hooks you? The next thing is stop trying to explain yourself and instead make short statements about what you need, what you feel, and what your boundaries are. So don't defend yourself. It doesn't work. They're better than you. They're able to fight harder, and because they're not willing to empathize and because they don't see you, you're not going to be able to defend yourself and get your point across. So quit trying to explain yourself. The next one is identify the narcissistic behaviors in very behavioral terms. This is what happens so that you can defend yourself against them and not be surprised when they happen. So again, back to having that game plan. This is what happens. This is what is done. This is what I'm going to do when this happens. Just really clear. Okay, and you want to set boundaries and refuse to back down. Some of the behavior is unacceptable, and you need to set boundaries with it. Does the narcissist respect your boundaries? No. But you can make a stand for boundaries that doesn't back down to force this person to make a choice. Are they going to like it? Are they going to agree that you have the right to set boundaries? No. But they may give in when they know that they have clear choices in the relationship, or that that's what it takes to continue a relationship with you. You want to develop assertiveness skills. Assertiveness skills is simply being able to assert yourself, being able to speak clearly, speak confidently, say what you need to say, not feel bad about it, and not back down. And as I said, you need to sever the relationship if these things cannot help you and the relationship is incredibly toxic. So back to boundaries with a narcissist. Difficult, but possible. And it starts with understanding what narcissism is, how it affects you in the relationship, and how you need to respond to it. Thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship.